What is up, everybody? It is not a victory Monday, unfortunately, for the San Francisco 49ers and us fans, and the bad news just keeps piling up. We're going to talk about that, plus do a little film review of the offense, and I'll give you a hint. It's not too pretty. Hopefully, they can turn it around. We got just a few short days until they play the Rams, who are also very, very injured. So this bodes well for the 49ers. They should be able to get back on track. But we got to finish things up from the prior week and talk about this Deebo Samuel injury. And we're going to do it all next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And it's Monday night, which is normally film review night, which we're definitely going to do. But we got to talk about Deebo Samuel. Kyle Shanahan just came out and said that Deebo Samuel is going to miss a few weeks. He now, much like CMC, has a calf strain. And I find this interesting because I remember Coach this offseason. I don't know if he said it out loud. I say out loud, meaning to y'all, but he definitely said it to me. He said that he felt like Deebo Samuel being in such good shape was a bad thing. You're thinking, well, how's that a bad thing? His point is that he's never in that good a shape, which means he most likely overtrained to get to that point. And there's no way he's lasting through the season without some pulls or injuries popping up somewhere. And unfortunately, that's exactly what we're seeing. Deebo Samuel has a calf strain. Let's not forget that this CMC situation started with a calf strain as well, but a calf strain from last year that lingered into this offseason and is now lingered into this season. So when will he be back? Right now, they're saying a few weeks. But like we've seen with CMC, if it's in the Achilles, if it's just in the calf, I mean, there's so many variances there. And then how does he respond to treatment over the next few weeks? There's a lot that's going to go into this. Now, the good news is that the 49ers have a favorable schedule. They play the Rams in LA, which I'll be there. 49ers do not lose when I'm there. So you can just chalk that one up to a win. But they're very injured as well. You know, they're missing a few offensive linemen. One of their starting safeties just went out for a few games. Cooper Kupp may not play. We already know that Puka Nacua is not going to play. So the Rams are a beat up team. They're just as, if not more, beat up than the 49ers. So that's a good thing because the 49ers, if they were playing a stacked Rams team without CMC and without Deebo, I wouldn't feel great about it. But against this Rams team, I actually feel very confident. So that's game number one. Then they play the Patriots. Now, the Patriots defense has been very good. I imagine that they'll be good against the 49ers, but they can't put up any points. Hufanga should be getting back either this week or next as well. That's going to be helpful. And because they can't really score, I expect that the 49ers can score just enough to go win that game, but it's not going to be easy. Neither of these games are going to be easy, but they're very winnable. Now, the toughest game of the three, which is the final game that CMC will until he should be eligible to come back, and the final game in which Deebo should be out, assuming that he's on a few-week timeline, meaning he's going to miss 3 games, would be the Cardinal game. Now, that's in division. The 49ers are definitely more talented than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals always make it tough on the 49ers, at least when Kyler Murray's in the building. So that's not going to be an easy game, but I think all 3 of these games are beyond winnable. If the 49ers go 3-0 during the stretch, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they went 1-2, I wouldn't be surprised. Just because you never know what can happen. And those injuries that we're talking about are just right now. We don't know how the other teams are going to look, what injuries are going to happen between now and when they play for the 49ers or the Patriots and Cardinals. We pretty much know what the Rams look like. We know what the 49ers look like. And right now, the Rams look way more beat up than the San Francisco 49ers. So I still feel very, very good about that. So that is the latest. Deebo Samuel, calf strain. out a few weeks, according to Kyle Shanahan. So, that being said, we got the AZ sports fan here. He represents the Cardinals over on the NFC West roundtable. He's excited because they got a win. He thinks that means that they're going to beat the 49ers, I assume, in a few weeks. Not going to happen, but you feel good. You should feel good. You should feel good. So there we go. Hard Tackle says Purdy's worth $60 million. He's elite. Okay. We'll see. We'll see about that. Yeah, but with who? Who's he going to light us up with? If Cup doesn't play and Puka Nacua doesn't play, where? Who? Although, to be fair, I didn't know that Minnesota was going to move the ball with a bunch of backups on the final drive, but they did. They certainly did. So anything is possible. I don't know that he'll light the 49ers up, though, with all those weapons out. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's do a little film review. Let's do a little film review. Oh, Fosse. Boy, oh boy, do I disagree with this one. But I mean, film doesn't lie, so we'll just watch the film. But I've watched it through once, and I'll tell you, I think it says the exact opposite of what you're saying personally, but we'll see. We will see what you think when we watch it. Here we go. All right, here we go. First play of the game. So we're doing just the offense, FYI, just the offense. Good time in the pocket. Goes through all of his reads, starts left, goes right, finds Juice. Juice had a nice little game. Why is it fast forwarding? Why is it fast forwarding? Let's try that. Let's try that again, y'all. Sorry. Apologies. Got a 3x1, looks left, goes through multiple reads, finds Juice, has good time in the pocket. I think the offensive line actually held up pretty good, in my opinion. Pretty well. Good job. This is what you like about Brock Purdy. He goes through his reads nice and clean. Now, I'll say this, and this is what I thought. This is what I thought during the game before he had any turnovers, by the way. I said, to me, Brock Purdy seems off and uncomfortable. And I didn't understand why, because I thought the protection was good. To me, I think it's clear that he misses CMC. This offense, I should say, misses CMC. And that includes him. But I think these receivers miss CMC. I think Purdy misses CMC. And not from a running aspect. Obviously, Mason's a phenomenal runner. He might be better at just pure running than CMC at this stage in his career. But, and they're different styles. But as far as the passing game goes, man, he does so much, CMC, to open it up for everybody else. So here we go. Yeah, he did. Listen, I want to be clear about this. You're never going to see me rip a quarterback, Purdy or anybody, for missing a guy deep on the backside of the play or a wide open guy on the backside of the play. You got to remember, like, this isn't Madden. You can't see the full screen. Before the snap, he chooses a side. And if he chooses the right and there's somebody that opens up on the left, then no quarterback's going to see that. They're just not. Unless it's a check down and they know what their hot route is. Other than that, you're not going to hear me be like, oh, man, that dude was running wide open. Why didn't he hit him? He didn't see him. He wasn't looking that direction. So here's the third play of the offense. Throws to Deebo. Nothing doing. Not a great decision, but, you know, it is what it is. All right, here's drive number 2. Finally going to run the ball a little bit. I don't know if they run it here per se, but 4 straight throws. Completion, though. Nice little completion. George Kittle getting involved. You love that. You love that. Trade for Darnold. Back. So they had a run play called, and then Brock politely declined and made the right decision here. Got a wide open. George Kittle hits him. Kittle does the rest. Good play call or play change here by Brock, recognizing, hey, let's switch it up here. Let's go to a pass. Jordan Mason can catch the ball for sure. Jonathan, he can, but he's just not CMC. CMC is a whole different ball game. Like Jordan Mason's improved, but CMC is the best in the league at this. Gosh, I love the way he runs the football, though, man. My gosh. So fun to watch. So fun to watch. He just runs so hard. Brother Bob, member for 16 months, says Shayna stand mad, but laugh out loud at Kyle Levy overusing Deebo and CMC. Well, a lot of people were complaining about Deebo's usage in the first couple games. You're not going to have to worry about that anymore, unfortunately, because he ain't going to be here the next few weeks. Well, I'm glad you're here, Jonathan. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for tapping in, man. I really appreciate it. You guys tell me. So far, protection's been pretty dang good for Brock Purdy. Pretty dang good. I mean, he's just camping back there, going through his reads, no problem. Looks good. Offense looks good. He looks good. Offensive line looks good. And look at that. Deebo in the backfield. Didn't even run. Isn't that nice? Maybe it's not predictable. What do you think they're going to do with Deebo out? You think it's Jacob Cowing time? What do you think? I think they should play Jacob Cowing. Get him involved. It'd be nice if Ricky was not on the IR. Obviously not his fault, but it'd be nice if he was there. Get to see what he can do without Deebo. 49ers throwback says, where's Marco? At his house, I assume. I was just texting with him a little bit ago. Yeah, more Jawan, more Kittle. Little Jacob Cowing run. You think they go with Jacob Cowing, or do you think they go with a veteran? I have a feeling they're going to go Conley. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, King Miguel he knows what time it is. Go Conley because we want Cowing. Yep. That you're probably right about that, unfortunately. Again, decent protection. Decent protection. Oof. He's gotten lucky on a couple already, man. The one to Deebo and then that one. Close. Close. Call up Terrace Marshall. You know they have Trent Taylor, right? You know they have Trent Taylor. Chiefs again. I don't get your reference. Just kidding. I do. I get it. I get the reference. All right, here we go. Backed up inside the 5-yard line. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Got motion. little screen. See, this is when you knew that Van Ginkel was on it. He was so close to getting his hands on that one. So close. And he gets his hands on a couple of them throughout the game, but he was very, very, very close to touching that one as well. Just slightly off on his angle. Man, I gotta say too, Minnesota's tackling really, really good, really impressive. A lot of teams will make plays, but they can't tackle, and that is not the case for Minnesota. Man, they were tackling machines, tackling machines. Yeah, I agree with that, King Miguel. You could see his confidence kind of shrink as the game went along. Here, I'm gonna skip a couple. We're not gonna watch every angle of every play because I want to be able to get through it. I'm supposed to go on Coach's channel here in about 45 minutes, so I want to make sure I'm respectful and make my way over there. We'll watch for it, Daza. I mean, Salvador. We'll watch for it on these running plays. I'll say this though: offensive line looks pretty good. That was a good throw by Purdy, by the way. Not a lot of separation there from Kittle. Puts it right on the money. Good throw. Perfect ball placement. Here we go. This looks like a run play. Let's watch the wide receivers. Well, Ayuk's still doing his thing. He's still trying to block, getting in front of somebody. Good little counter run. And that's Harrison Smith, too. Harrison Smith, he's no joke. I didn't pay attention to it, but I'd seen somebody say last night that Ayuk's effort wasn't there when blocking. I don't know. We'll pay attention to it. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I would say that Ayuk's blocking's effort is there. I don't know. No, that's not Ayuk that has the second lowest separation. After 1 week, Kittle had the lowest separation. Deebo was second or third lowest. And Ayuk was actually top third of the league. I don't know what it looks like this week, as far or after 2 weeks, but I will say that Deebo had 0 yards of separation on average. And if he was second or third worst last week, then he would be, you would think, bottom of the league. So I think you might be talking about Deebo Samuel. Oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise me that the 49ers ranked the lowest. They had 2 receivers in the bottom 3 or 2 pass catchers in the bottom 3 after 1 week. Yeah, Ayuk's blocking effort is definitely there. I don't remember who said it. I think it might have been on Twitter or something like that, but his conditioning's not. I'll tell you that. I mean, gee, many Christmas. He's already subbed out a couple times. You guys are talking about Kittle getting an IV, Trent got an IV. I mean, I don't know, y'all. The team just not as ready as what they were last year. You know what I mean? Just not as ready. Now the good news is it's a long season. You want to be playing your best football when you get to the playoffs, but early returns are they're definitely not ready for the season. All right, so there were 6 sacks in this game. Okay. Now, I pissed off people on Twitter, but at least I showed my work. I cut up all 6 sacks. PFF put 4 of the 6 sacks on Brock Purdy, I guess, is what I had heard after I'd put out my post. I put all 6 sacks on Brock Purdy, and we'll go through them one by one as they happen. You tell me if I'm wrong. One of them I could see as a 50-50 because and I'll explain it when we get there. But for sure, 5 of the 6 on him, the other one 50-50. But I'll explain myself all the way through. So this was the first one. Now, Ayuk is going to be wide open right over the middle. You're going to get Kittle on a slant. Purdy has plenty of time. And he's looking in the direction of Ayuk, but he doesn't pull the trigger. Pump fakes. And then he just runs into a sack. That's not like, again, we hear sacks and we're like, oh God, this offensive line is awful. How is this on the offensive line? What more are they supposed to do here? I mean, truth be told, he still had a clean pocket. They were protecting for a while. His clock just went off in his head and he took off running. But even though he decided not to make the throw, he still had more time and then he just ran into a sack. I mean, Ayuk's wide open right over the middle. And he's looking there. Again, I'm not going to dog a quarterback for missing a play on the backside, but when you're looking in the direction of the player that's open and you pump fake it and don't throw the ball and take a sack, to me, that's on the quarterback. So that's one. I think we all agree that one's on Purdy. At least I hope we agree. Now, the good news is that's the only sack they take in the whole first half. The only one. And then they take 5 in the third quarter and none in the fourth quarter. So the third quarter is where the majority of sacks happen, 5 of the 6. Again, I think they're pretty much all on Purdy, but we'll go through them one by one. How is who wide open? He hasn't been sacked. That was the one time that he just got sacked. Jolts, how is who wide open? You're talking about Ayuk? Oh my God. Okay. Are we really going to do this? Let's go back. Ayuk's right here. How is that not open? Right over the middle of the field. I mean, that's You don't think that's open in the NFL? You don't think if he throws that ball that Ayuk catches it? Come on, man. Let's have honest intellectual conversations. If we can't be honest about what we're watching, then there's just no point. There's no point in having the conversation if we can't be honest. That's very open in the NFL. Great throw by Purdy. Great throw by Purdy. I mean, he's way more open than Jennings just was, and Jennings was 15 yards downfield and he hit that throw. You're telling me Brock can't hit that fill or can't hit that throw? Let's go. I mean, you certainly can't put that sack on the offensive line. They were holding up forever, man. He had like 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Oh, gosh, look at those cutbacks, man. Yeah, that's fine, JM617. Like, no, he didn't ask for 30 million, but that doesn't then you can't then turn around when a player's open and be like, I mean, he asked for 30 million. That's not open. Like, well, what does that have to do with an individual play on where a sack happened and who is at fault for the sack? He can't get open now because he asked for 30 million. We can't like honestly assess one individual play because he asked for $30 million. I mean, what are we doing? Mason's a beast, man. 2 things that I want to see, and I called for it last week. 1, I want to see if Mason ever goes backwards at the end of being tackled. And 2, I want to see a game where Jake Brendel doesn't end up on his butt. Just those 2 things. You're right, Corey. You're right. That's fair. That's fair. Let me get this comment off the screen. Sorry. That's a throw he should probably. That's a throw that Brock Purdy hits 90% of the time. Was that open? I mean, I know that he asked for 30 million, but is that open? Is Ayuk open here? Or no, because he asked for 30 million? I just want to make sure that I know the rules before we talk about it, but I'm pretty sure that looks pretty open to me. Looks pretty open to me. Not open. He asked for 30 mil. All right. Hey, totally fair. As long as I know the rules, man, then we're fine. We are fine as long as I know the rules. If that's not open because he asked for 30 mil, then he's only 25 open. Okay, all right. All right. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, he's just got to throw it earlier. If he does, then he gets a touchdown there. Because then what happens is they go for it on 4th down. And by the way, I don't like the play call on 4th down, but that's beside the point. But they end up going for it on this drive on 4th down, and they could have had a touchdown if he just throws the ball a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? That being said, this is the 3rd down play. Hold on. Let's let it play out, and then we'll get to 4th down. I did not like the play call on 4th down personally. That's a very good throw. That is a very good throw. It's like he was in opposite mode here. It's like the easy ones, he wasn't making look easy the way he normally does, but the difficult ones, He's hitting. It's a very good throw. Very good throw. Yeah, Mark, listen, I'm not saying that Ayuk doesn't need to play better. I'm just simply analyzing what we're seeing play by play. That's all I'm doing. Both can be true. He can play. He needs to play better, and he's been open twice, and Purdy missed him twice, and looked at him twice. Both can be true. Now let's look at this fourth down call. I'm not a fan of it. Let me tell you why. You're on the far right hash. Okay. You've got Jennings running an out. You're going to throw across the field instead of taking in breaking routes. And then if those in breaking routes aren't open, you can turn it into a scramble drill. But if you do an out breaking route, it's much harder to then go from an out breaking route, loop around, and turn it into a scramble drill. And it's a longer throw, which means things can go wrong. Defenders can get in front. Or in this case, obviously, the ball gets tipped, which can happen any play. Personally, not a fan of this fourth down play call, but you be the judge. Now, I don't have a problem with them going for it on fourth down here. I didn't have a problem with it. I just don't like the play call. I don't like throwing far hash to an outbreaking route in the end zone. I just think it's too far for the ball to travel, and there's too much that can go wrong, in my opinion. Imagine if he gets undercut, right? So again, if you do in breaking routes and you throw it over the middle and it gets picked, the guy picks it, he kneels the ball, that's it, right? If you throw an out breaking route and it gets undercut, it's a pick six. That's another reason why you don't want to make that throw. Now, I'm not blaming Purdy for making the throw. This is what was drawn up. I just don't like the play design, personally. Because if 22 undercuts it and catches it mid-run, gone. That's a 99-yard touchdown. I don't know. That's just me personally. But you guys tell me. I think the offensive line's done pretty good. Pretty good so far. Now you're going to allow a little bit of pressure here because it's a screen pass. So you're blocking and then trying to get out in front. So you can get out and block. I think they did a good job there, personally. True, big city. It would have been a 98-yarder. That's fair. That's fair. See, even on these throws here, so good throw, right? Or good play. But even on these throws, and this is how I knew Brock was just a little bit off. Normally, he hits a player in stride here. He hits Deebo twice on plays very similar to this. Both of them were very, very high. And Deebo climbs up and goes and gets him. But normally, he hits a player in stride. So even when he was hitting, it just seemed like there was something that was just a little bit off with Purdy yesterday. Now, I'm never going to complain about a completion by any means. But he has a clean pocket there. He's not hurried. Normally, he makes that throw, and a player is able to catch it and run. A lot of people look at completion percentage and say, okay, accuracy, that's accuracy. Oh, well, he's completing, 75%, so he's accurate. Well, not necessarily. Ball placement's important. Yes, he completed a pass, but would you say that was a really accurate pass? No, it wasn't. Now, again, I'm not complaining about a completion. I'm just saying Brock, to his standards, was off yesterday. Something was off with him yesterday. He wasn't seeing the field the way that he normally does. It wasn't as clean. And I don't believe it's because the offensive line was just allowing crazy pressure, because we've been watching it and that has not been the case. But he's human. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just don't have your best stuff. That's fine too. It's not saying he's not good. It's not saying he's not going to improve. It's just calling it for what it is. And in this one individual game, he didn't have his best stuff, period. And he wasn't the only one, by the way. And even on a day that wasn't his best, he still had some really good throws. Saw one to Jennings, one to Kittle. This is a good throw. Look at this ball placement. Phenomenal. Phenomenal ball placement. I mean, he couldn't have placed it anywhere else. Otherwise, the ball's getting batted down, tipped up in the air, intercepted, what have you. That's just good ball placement. Which again makes you wonder, like, when you have Ayuk over the middle the way he did earlier, how do you not make that throw? It wasn't near as tight as that one. Yeah, see, I remember Mason fumbled on that one. He recovered it, but he fumbled. All right, let's skip ahead here. That was the 4th down play. See, okay. I was talking about this yesterday with Sunil. On 4th down, again, first of all, I was against this one. And I'm just going off of how I reacted live. The other 2 4th downs, I was fine going with it. I didn't like the play design on the 4th down in the end zone, and we just broke that down. I didn't like going for it on 4th down here. Was not a fan of it. But if you're going to go for it, I feel like this is the time where you give Brock options. This is when you do a naked boot, roll him out to a side, give him a high-low read with the option to run, and you got things you can work with, right? And you're going against just a few defenders on the outside versus keeping them in the pocket. Now, you get an illegal formation, and that kills the play anyways, okay? But nobody's open, and now he's got a beeline for it. He probably would have came up short anyways. But if you boot him out and you roll some routes over his direction, he's got options available. It's about optionality. And he didn't have optionality there. All right, so this is a run play. He's changing the play. Changes it to a pass. See, that's another one. Again, good protection. Plenty of time in the pocket. Throws complete. Again, no complaint about that. He's just a little bit off. Little bit off. Normally, Brock's drilling you in the chest on these. Athletic play by Deebo, though. Also, credit to him. That's a heck of a play to go up and get that ball. Because if he's that short and tips it, it's a pick. You know what I mean? So great play by Deebo to go get that. He's had 2 of them now. 2 very athletic plays. I'm curious when he hurt his calf too. Like, when did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, when did the calf get hurt? I mean, I see what you're saying about throwing over the linebacker, but again, there's 10 yards between Deebo and the linebacker. It doesn't have to be. Listen, I'm not going to harp on the play too much. It was caught. All I'm saying is that Brock normally hits in stride there. That's all I'm saying. I'll take the completion. I'm not crushing Brock over it. I'm just pointing out he didn't have his best stuff. But again, we're almost through the first half, and the offensive lines looked really good. Really, really good. Yeah, Shady Luke, though, I don't remember what play it was. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to remember when that was throughout the game. I can't like remember when it happened. It was a run play to Mason. Now we're at the 2-minute warning. Fourth quarter, Steven. All right. This was a nice little play design. I like this one. This was very Andy Reid. This reminds me of an Andy Reid play to Kelsey. They do this a lot. Little tight end screens. My fantasy team thanks you. George Kittle, shout out to you. But this is a nice little play. Blocks, leaks out, has blockers up in front. Pooney still looked really good, by the way. I feel like Pooney's passed the test that we need him to pass at this point. Feel very comfortable with Pooney now after 2 weeks. Just wanted to see one more week, and I feel like he held up very well. Nice play. Okay, what do we... Oops. Gosh. How did I get so far ahead? Okay. I swear we had a... Oh, that's second quarter. Okay. So here's this quarter, and we may only make it through the third quarter, but this quarter where we have the 5 other sacks. Okay, there's 6 total sacks. And it took me a while. I went through the film twice and kept counting 5 sacks. So then I had to go look at the play-by-play on ESPN. The 6th sack, believe it or not, is the Brock Purdy empty hand throw. They counted that as a sack for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why he wasn't touched. And if you go look at the box score, nobody got credit for the sack, but it was a team sack. And obviously he was clean, so we know that one's on him. So we're 1 sack in. Anybody agrees that the 1 sack was on Brock Purdy. So here's sack number 2. And a couple plays here. How many of you thought this reminded you of the NFC Championship game, though? Remember this play to Juice? How similar of a play, huh? Pretty sweet. Immediately, I was like, that's the NFC Championship play. Juice. It looked exactly the same. Brock Purdy's running around. Juice toe taps in. Gosh, man. What a game that was. How awesome was that game? And how awesome is that play? Okay, I think this is the sack coming up right here. Now, if this is the one where I was like, 50-50. Because Brock does get pressure and he beats the immediate pressure. And that's why I say, okay, you can't fully put it on Brock because he does get mobile and he avoids the first set of pressure. But here he gets out to the edge, and instead of throwing the ball away, he runs and dives and ends up just short of the line of scrimmage. And so it's a sack. But again, if you want to say, hey, listen, he avoided the initial pressure, no problem with it. You want to say that's not on him, that's fine. So that's sack number 2 of the 6. That one, I'll agree and say, hey, you don't want to give it to him, no problem. I can understand the argument to be made there. Okay. I know. I agree. When I first went through, it was like 4 sacks. And then I realized this was one they counted for a sack. And then the empty hand fumble interception thing, well, fumble, I guess, they counted that as a sack as well. Oh, Daz, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think Purdy should have thrown the ball away instead of taking a sack. But he also does get away from the initial pressure. So that's why I'm like, I can understand why you would say, hey, not fully on Purdy. I'm fine with that. Now, they did a much better job against the run in this half. Much better job. Now, here comes another sack. Trying to remember which one this is. I think this is the throw to Deebo he misses. Yes. Okay. So he's got 2 here. His initial look is to Deebo. Doesn't throw there. Then he's got to dump off to Juice, and he doesn't throw there either. And you'll see I like looking at these other angles because you can look at the stripe of his helmet, and that tells you where he's looking. So he's looking at Deebo, who we saw is open, decides not to make that throw. He hits his back foot, hitches up, looks at Juice, doesn't make that throw either, and then he gets sacked. And we'll look at it from one more angle. Is this one where Brindle gets thrown to the ground? Gosh, dude. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. He does twice in this game, though. I will say that. But listen, Brock normally makes these throws. Again, I think that's on Brock. You had 2 guys open, and they weren't away from the play. You looked at both of them. You didn't make the throw. That's that. Okay. Fast forward a little bit here. Oh, this was the interception. Okay. So the interception here, again, no pressure. He's late on the throw, and he gets picked off. And I'll show you from the backside what I'm talking about. We'll watch it from this angle. And then from the backside is where you'll be able to really see kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, so going into this, you have to remember that route progressions are tied to the feet of the quarterback, meaning when Brock takes his drop, and here's a three-step drop, okay? Once he hits his back foot, that is married to read number 1. Then when he hitches, that's read number 2. If he hitches again, that's read number 3, so forth and so on. So We'll see when he hits his back foot here. You'll see that's married to read number 1, which is not open. Read number 1, not open. So he's in a hitch, and he's going to look right at juice. Boom. He throws the ball right now with that hitch. This ball's complete. You look at the distance here. But because he holds it, now the linebacker is looking at his eyes, knows where he's going, and is breaking tough on this ball. Still hadn't thrown it. Now he's just now throwing it after the second hitch up. And that's how you get a pick. The decision I don't think was awful, Rome, just to be fair. It was the right place to throw. He just has to do it on the second hitch. He's just late, and he sees it. Again, back foot, right here. Oops. Back foot. Read number 1. Doesn't like it. Read number 2 is juice. Hitched. Open. Throw the ball. Hitches again. Boom. Gone. If he throws it on the first hitch, it's a completion. But again, no pressure. That was a clean pocket. Okay, now here's another sack. Pressure does get in pretty quick here. But again, I put this on Brock, and here's why. Now you're going to have Deebo right here. He's going to run a little sit-down route right in this area. Brock's going to look at him. He's going to pump fake, keep the ball, and then get sacked. If he throws the ball, it's a completion. And he has enough time to pump fake all the way through, which means he had enough time to throw. And here's the other thing. You'll notice, watch Deebo after the play. Deebo goes like this. He looks over both shoulders. Like, was there a guy near me? Why didn't you throw the football? Watch what Deebo does. Watch how he reacts. Look at him. Is there somebody by me? What's going on? That's normally money. What are we doing? Right? He throws that ball. That's a completion. And watch Deebo. He's like, yo, what's up, man? Why was that ball not thrown? I was open. I'm just saying. Listen, we can say the O-line was bad, and we can say, oh, they got 6 sacks. The O-line was bad. But was it? That's a perfect little pitch and catch. That looks like the Shanahan offense. Those deep little comebacks. They usually run it on both sides of the field, and then Brock gets to choose. It's a bang, bang play. Perfect style Shanahan offense right there. That's all over his playbook. Okay, we got 2 more sacks. Ugh. They just snuff that play out, man. It's not. Oops. Ooh. Quick-footed Brock, baby. I love that. Does a good job here, escaping, getting up the middle, keeping his eyes downfield, and just taking off. You'd like to see it more often. You really would. Nice little stiff arm. It's a good play. Good play by Brock. Hits that back foot. Knows there's pressure. Just takes off. I love it. I love it. Mm. However, they just couldn't get the running game going in the second half. Not like they were in the first half. The first half, it was like ownage. You know what I mean? Oops. What we got here? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the second to last sack. What you're going to get is you're going to get Bell running out on a speed out and then cuts up the field. And then you're going to get, I believe, Juwan on kind of like a little out sit pattern here. Now, Brock, I believe, is probably reading this corner. And what you'll see is this corner's in his back pedal, which means Juwan should be the guy here. Now, if Juwan's not open, could be wrong here. I'm not saying that the next progression should be Mason by any means. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is Mason is your safety valve. And what he's going to do is he's going to run a little out pattern here right at the blitz. So if you know you're hot and you got 5 coming, which means you know you're hot, you don't have a lot of time. If you don't make this throw here, you got to get it out to your hot route, in my opinion. Now, I don't know that the offense is designed that way, so I'm not going to knock him for not making it to Mason on this progression. But what I will say is he has Jennings and he doesn't throw the ball again. And he has time. He has time to make that throw. Watch Jennings. So that corner is backing up. He's in the middle of backing up. If you make that throw, it's completed. And Brock makes that throw 95% of the time. That's what I'm saying. It was so weird that he just wasn't for whatever reason. But he hits his back foot and he's just sitting there. He's not climbing the pocket. He's not. I don't know, man. It's not the way that I'm used to seeing him play. He literally hits the back foot and just chills, stands straight up. He's got to move up, hitch up. If you're not going to make the throw, hitch up. I don't know. Again, saying the offensive line sucks sounds good, and it's a nice buzzword. It's a nice buzz phrase, but and then this is the final sack where he doesn't get touched. The ball slips out of his hand. They count it as a sack for whatever reason. And it's the fumble / interception, whatever. So those are your 6 sacks. You tell me. I mean, I just don't put them on the offensive line. I felt like the offensive line did their job. We went through them one by one. And both turnovers were completely unforced. I mean, both of them were the cleanest of clean pockets. So, anyways, that's that. That's pretty much most of the film that we're going to care about. You're going to get like 2 more drives here. One of them is this one, which was a great drive, by the way. Great drive altogether. I mean, everything was hitting on this drive. And then you're going to get the other final drive. So Deebo was athletic as hell yesterday. Man, gosh, dude, he's gone up and gotten 3 balls. But the final drive was like prevent defense. There's not really a lot to show there. Deebo took a shot. My gosh, dude. It's a tough SOB. Look at the shot he takes. Boom. Goodness sakes. There we go. There we go, Deebo. Nice on rhythm throw. That's what I'm saying. Like Brock was money on some of these other plays, but dude, for some reason, those sacks, he just wasn't pulling the trigger. Let me get to these supers real quick. Shady Luke says, "Didn't you see Deebo limping?" Yeah. I saw that one. Sorry. Dazza says, "With no Hawkinson, Addison, how were we defending JJ as he was the only receiving threat?" Well, I mean, I think putting 2 safeties on him, one of them at the line of scrimmage, isn't ideal. I don't know how that's any better than what Steve Wilkes did going 0 blitz. Remember, Steve Wilkes went 0 blitz, had his best corner one-on-one with a rookie. That corner intercepts it, and then the rookie rips the ball from him and scores a touchdown, and we killed him for it. Deservedly so. Why are you 0 blitzing at the end of a half? But in the same token, why are you playing the best receiver in the league with a backup safety at the line of scrimmage who you know is not going to keep up with him? That's number one. You know for a fact you're basically taking him completely out of the play because there's no way he's keeping up with Justin Jefferson down the field. So he gets cooked off the line of scrimmage. Then he's basically one-on-one with Jair Brown. Of course he's going to win that. That was a horrible play call. SoCal says, "Jesse, sorry to hear about Deebo injury. Sucks. Look at us. Will you be at week three's game? Come have a beer." Yeah. DM me, bro. I think we had talked about doing some tailgating together. I will be there. I would love to tailgate with you guys. Come chop it up. Yeah, I mean, listen, Deebo's out and it sucks, but you guys are more banged up than we are. So it is what it is. We got to find a way to win, just like you got to find a way to win. But that being said, I'm going to be going over to Coach's channel. I'm sorry I couldn't make it through all the film. I had it timed out perfect, but the Deebo Samuel news at the beginning kind of took the air out of the show. We had to talk about it, and we weren't able to make it through all the film. You pretty much know what happens from here on out, though. Let me get over to Coach's channel, and I will talk to y'all soon. Come tap in over there. Coach's Huddle. See you in a minute. Peace, y'all. Much love.